All right, welcome to another edition of Come Drive With Us Live. I'm not sure why this isn't going to my personal Facebook feed, but it's on my 5150 Productions feed, and I'm trying to figure out how to share. So I've got a special guest tonight for the 2016 IFMAR Worlds edition of Come Drive With Us. My guest tonight is going to be the one and only Rhonda Drake. So we'll be bringing her on shortly. Just a little bit of information on this episode. It's one of my favorites. Somehow it was a super fast edit. I did this one start to finish 5 weeks. Which those of you waiting for the Icebreaker know that some of these take a while. Icebreaker I've started over a couple times. I just didn't like the first two cuts, and I'm going to finish it eventually. It's going to happen. So yeah, this one, like I said, super quick edit. It was a really fun project to work on. Yeah, the race was great, and that's the one we're watching tonight. So let me just bring on our guest, Rhonda. Let's see here. Hi, Rhonda. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Let's just assume there's somebody on this broadcast that doesn't know who you are while I figure out how to share this onto my personal page.
Okay. I'm Rhonda Drake. I race for Mugen Seiki Racing, Proline, OS Engines. I've been racing for 30 years. I live in California. I'm married to Adam Drake. I raced before I married Adam Drake. I don't know. I guess I'm a West Coast racer.
Nice. So
RC racer.
How's the club scene? How's the racing scene in California under COVID right now?
It's been really good, actually. Where club racing was dead, we're getting like 100 entries and a lot of spectators. So I would say it's really, really good. We've been doing night races, but now that it's getting a little bit colder, they've been doing more of the day races, and I don't think it's as popular. I think people want to do stuff on, during the day and then go race at night. But I would say to get Garen from Revelation Raceway on board and Thunder Alley, it's really good where they were like, no, we're not going to do it because we only ever get 30 people and all that. We'd be getting 100 every time. So It's been really good.
Cool. So you win any races lately?
Just the Proline Nitro Explosion. I won 40 plus, and I raced Expert as well, which I was actually really happy with my results in that. Even though I was 10th, it was still pretty good. So, but yeah, the 40 plus, old lady.
Cool. So was there a lot of people at that race?
236, I want to say. Don't quote me on that, but I've been drinking already. So, yeah, like 230 something. It was a pretty good turnout.
And what are you drinking? Because I'm drinking, it's not my usual. It's another California Red, but it's not my usual Menage a Trois, which is the one I usually drink.
It's a Malibu and a pineapple.
Nice.
And then for backup, I have a Smirnoff Ice Green Apple.
Ooh, so this is going to be a good one, huh?
I hope so.
Did you participate in the 16 Worlds in Vegas?
I did not. Actually, that week, we had just closed on our house that we live in now, and I was packing everything, and poor Adam with the stress of going through moving and everything. I handled a bunch of it, but I ended up coming up on the weekend. And so I was there, but no, I did not race.
Nice. I did not race either. It's a good thing.
I figured.
So anyways, I'm just going to switch over to my laptop, and we're going to start watching the race.
All right.
Just give me a second here to switch things up a bit. Get our picture in pictures. All right. We are pressing play. So this first shot was actually planned like months and months in advance. I wanted to start out with Dallas and not really show who won the race. And it worked out pretty good.
I like that mullet.
Right? Yeah.
It's pretty sweet with the aviators.
Oh, I know, right? Yeah, he reminds me a lot of my late cousin Kurt. Actually, they looked a lot alike.
Yeah.
Except my cousin actually liked me. Dallas just yelled at me all the time.
Yeah, I saw it on the video.
Yeah. So I did a big rewind here to do kind of like a catch up of sorts basically what happened since the last Worlds, which would have been 2014. Just to kind of catch people up as to what was going on in the off season, or the off year of 15, and then the preseason of 16. So you didn't go to Italy? I can't remember if you were there or not. I think it was just Adam, right?
No, I didn't go to Italy as well.
Yeah. Here's everybody all sad about getting bumped, not winning.
Yeah.
To do it this week, so we'll do it in 2 years
In Vegas.
And if we don't,
So apparently Lee Martin got super poop faced in Vegas. Like they
Oh,
got a
really?
wheelchair and they were wheeling him out of the casino in a wheelchair, and he was completely passed out.
It's funny.
Yeah.
But what does 2 years
I miss Cody. I wish he raced still.
Right?
starts with the Nitro Challenge
Yeah.
RC
Do you miss Fear Farm at all?
Supercross.
I do. I miss Fear Farm. I also miss RC Tracks Las Vegas and all that. But I liked Fear Farm. It
Yeah.
was good. It was just, time to get away and everything. And I like the layouts that they did at Fear Farm and
Yeah.
all that. I know that Joey did them, but because of the rain out here in California the past 2 years, the layouts have just been, they're okay,
Yeah.
but not like the layouts like at Fear Farm.
Yeah. Yeah, here we're just talking about, I think this is now Silver State in 15. That was Tebow's first big win in quite a while.
Yeah.
He seemed to do really good in the rough.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he's driving what, Kyosho then?
He was then, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, those cars are good in the rough.
Yeah. Did you race much at RC Tracks?
I did actually. I raced a bunch there. I think I raced at Silver State or one of them.
Right. Yeah.
And I like that track. It
Yeah.
was just different, and I love going to Vegas. So
Right. Who doesn't?
yeah.
Yes. So here we're talking a little bit about Ty's season, because his run up or follow up season to the IFMAR Worlds win was not exactly great. He did pretty good at the Nationals. He doubled up at the Roarnats, but that was kind of his only really big win that year.
Yeah. Maybe because his hat was crooked then.
Maybe,
it was
huh?
just the whole year was off.
Yeah, exactly. And 2016 was a pretty epic year. So this was actually I had just switched over to Mugen, and I got to run with your husband. I think Snyder was there, and a few other people at Rev. So this was actually a lot of fun. I really liked practicing with Adam. It was awesome.
Yeah, I like that you go, and do the beforehand, and so you get to see the stories before the actual race and everything.
Yeah.
I think people like the more candid stuff sometimes.
Yeah, it's true.
I miss those rev layouts too.
I know, right? How's Revelation been lately?
It gets a little bumpy and all that kind
Right.
of stuff. I think they're putting in a new layout or whatever, but that I think Dana was doing the layouts then still, and I don't know why Garen doesn't have Dana still do the layouts. He has Daniel Smith do them, but Dana,
Gotcha.
I miss them Dana doubles.
Dana doubles, nice. Yeah.
Dana doubles, yeah.
Yeah, this layout,
So-
this was back in 16. This was actually a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that one. Except for the dust.
I look at Adam there, and I mean, he's lost so much weight. It's
Right?
like looking
Yeah.
at a different person.
Yeah, so I wonder, did he mention a lot of extra pressure given that it was like a domestic Worlds that year at all?
Adam he has that poker face, so he never
Yeah.
really shows a lot of emotion.
Right.
And even being his wife, he's still very he's always just thinking and working on something, and he's always busy. So it's really hard. He's not upfront with his feelings or anything. So
Right.
I know he always is preparing and everything. And but I think what a lot of people don't really realize, like a lot of these guys just race, and that's pretty much all they do. I mean, he's always doing more than that and 20 things at a time and everything. And I wish that sometimes he would just take a year off and just basically just race. And he is getting older, but I still think he's got it. He just is. I think he's always looked for his future and everything else like that. But he's always. I mean, he's prepared. It's not a lack of preparation for sure. I think it's just he doesn't get out enough and go racing everywhere. I always tell him, go take a trip and go to Arizona with Ryan and Mayfield and go run with him a bunch and do that. And he's like, I got to do this and this. And I'm like, well, I don't know what to tell you then.
Yeah. So did you race the FSB 1000 Silver State where it was like super grippy and we were running like 20,000 weight oils?
Where was that at?
Silver State. At RC Tracks.
Was it RC Tracks?
Yeah.
I don't remember, honestly.
Yeah. I can't remember if you were there. I actually raced in this one. It was like that S section that we just saw. We were going through it on 3 wheels. It was so much grip. And
I don't think I've really missed a Silver State, but maybe. I don't know. I don't remember. They're all.
It's all a blur. How many races do you do a year anyways?
A lot. I mean, after racing 30 years and you get a little bit older, it's like, okay, it's just routine anymore. And it's not significant like it once was when you were first going to these races and everything. But I'm sure I probably did race it.
Yeah. So here Daniel was on trip 3 of 15 to Vegas, if I recall.
Yeah, he looks amused.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the racers were not a big fan of the substance they put on the track, but IFMAR was really pressuring them to not water. So they really didn't have a lot of choices. The only way they could keep that track to hold together was to basically glue it together.
Well, see, this is my issue with that. Okay, so it's off-road.
Yeah.
So I personally, I like water tracks, but I would actually prefer non-water tracks because it's a natural track.
Right.
But it's going to blow out and everything else, but it blows out regardless if there is water, if there's not water, or you put glue on it or whatever you do, it always blows out. And when you put those traction additives on the track, it blows out at some point and then the dust goes on. So why not just let the track be natural? I mean, that's my personal opinion.
Yeah, because none of these guys were fans of it. Like Boots was super mad about it. Well, I don't know how much of it was just Kyosho bias because their car didn't like the grip for whatever reason. But I think
it gets to where it's like you might as well run on road. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like look how smooth that is compared to what it ended up at the Worlds. There's like no bumps.
Yeah, it was not anything like it. So run the track in its natural ability of how it's gonna end up at an event like that. So.
Yeah, and it actually also turned into a little bit of a tire war here. The JC guys had a little bit of an edge because it turned into that slick groove again. So we saw Spencer TQ, and I believe Ryan Mayfield ends up winning this one.
Yeah.
Mayfield took that one.
Yeah.
He was pretty stoked to win it because it was the same track as the Worlds, but it was the same facility, but the track he knew was going to be different.
Yeah. Gotta love Ryan.
I understand why IFMAR is not going to allow them to water, and the temperature is not going to allow for water to stay on the track. It's going to be super inconsistent. So this is the most consistent track he can build to sustain for 10 days.
Yeah, so Ryan was just saying that this is the most consistent track that Chris Toko could put together to last the 10 days because IFMAR events are super long. There's 16 days of qualifying or something. Well, here's my buddy Dallas. Look at this. He waved me off. He's like,
I know. I saw this the other day. That's why I made the comment, get out of here, Corey.
Yeah.
But this is the problem, though. You have people that don't race. He probably hasn't raced in 40 years.
Right.
and then they're trying to tell you the surface where we do this every week. And we can tell you what the surface needs to be like. Why not let the racers vote on it, not a committee that really just sit back going on vacation?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God, I'm going to hell for that one.
No, I don't think so. Just blame it on your iced tea. I blame everything on my wine.
Yeah, right here. But I would have said it regardless.
Right. So in 2016, Jared, he did pretty good. He had just switched to Proline that year, if I recall. And he won the Neo, so it was his second big win in quite some time, or in a shorter time period because he won Silver State the year before and then he won Neo. And these guys, they just love winning races during a
appreciate
Worlds
that.
year. So
Shows that it means something.
Yeah.
I think
Well, it brings you confidence.
in their own
exactly.
way. So yeah, sure. I mean, I get a bit nervous, but you have to control it and you know, perhaps transform that into performance on the track, make yourself better on the track.
With the surprising decision by IFMAR that the Worlds would be run on a more traditional off-road track.
So this is what's actually pretty interesting is IFMAR, they decided to run it on dirt and watered. So the gas champs actually saw a lot of European guys come out.
It's not exactly like what the Vegas track's going to be, but
Yeah, I think I was there for that as
say
well.
that we can get a good
We made many trips to Vegas right before that.
Gas Champs was good.
Everybody had fun, and it was cool to have international guys at our track because we really don't.
Yeah,
get
Daniel
that
here, he said it's good to have international guys at his track.
That was cool to watch those guys.
Yeah.
on our track.
Sorry, my audio just got really quiet here for some reason. This is why you don't drink wine while doing one of these.
And Joe Bornhorst rounding
Yeah, it's raw footage.
Would this
That's
race
right.
be a good test for the Worlds?
Anytime you're used to dealing with a bumpy track and a low grip situation, you know the two different setups are going to play, you know, a part in some way, shape, or form. So yeah, I definitely think it helps a little bit. You know what I mean?
Good old pro line track.
Yeah.
Daniel just always, and forgive me for saying, but he just has that "fuck my life" kind of
Oh, really?
look on his face.
Nice. That's awesome.
There's your B-roll.
Exactly.
Either by the hand of the track crew or by Mother Nature.
So this was the warm-up race, and it was freezing cold that weekend in Vegas. I didn't even pack any warm clothes like at all, and I was so cold. And I'm Canadian, so for a Canadian to get cold, that's significant.
Yeah, look at them clouds though.
Yeah, yeah, it was crazy, but it was awesome because this was an actual off-road race. They just did some watering, and the track blew out. It got really bumpy. This was a really good warm-up for the Worlds.
Yeah.
Well, for the HB guys, because they pretty much dominated. It was basically
Yeah.
Rona Falk and Ty. They figured out their shock package just perfectly for that track.
So far. He was struggling
Mayfield
with
didn't
the likes of
didn't do
Taylor,
quite as good
McBride, and Tessman.
because you can just see his car, like even in this bump section, it was just so he was just trying to hang on for dear life, basically.
It's probably because he didn't have anybody to ask questions about the car.
Pretty much. Adam wasn't there.
Ty would be the top
No.
qualifier heading into the semifinals.
I loved David Ronafalk's mullet. I'm not sure if you noticed it.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna comment on that. It's not as sweet as Dallas's, but it's
I know,
pretty
right?
good.
Whoever wins it, it's going to going into Worlds.
Oh, look at Ty and that wheel spin.
Right? Yeah, so it basically started raining from the time I got there because the practice. This was also a really long event. I think it started like on the Wednesday. I got there on either the Friday or the Saturday, and it basically started raining as soon as I got there, with a few breaks here and there. And check out the clouds in the background. Like it was just terrible weather.
Threatening clouds beginning to surround Las Vegas. The 30-minute semifinal is set to begin. With Ty on point.
So they have the same
Crazy
format.
that-
They have the same format as the World. So this is the A group semi or the odd group semi.
Ryan Mayfield
Or-
would start
yeah, odd group.
behind him in odd grouping.
Yeah, here's Mayfield.
You know that
Go ahead.
that track never had grip ever.
Right.
Bump by bump. Ty would
It
enter
never
the
grooved
run.
up really.
The rough track conditions
Yeah.
definitely showed that Mayfield's buggy's handling,
Was it a track that spawned a lot of tire wars?
even though Ryan would soon fall off. He would fend off Dakota
I-
and McBride.
I don't know. I try not to get into the mental game of it because I
Right.
mean, you just deal with what you got.
Yeah.
Would not be run.
So
Team HB would
Yeah,
I
so
shut
the-
a lot of that stuff out when I race. But
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if you in your head you think you have a disadvantage, that's not good mentally when you're
Right.
racing.
Yeah. Yeah, so the semis actually got rained out, so Ty ended up winning this one sort of by default-ish, or he said by qualifying, because that's kind of what a semifinal is. It's just more qualifying.
Yeah.
And then Rona Falk, like they both looked really good. So I was actually pretty excited for Ty, given that he's a personal friend. I was pretty stoked how good his stuff looked on that track, knowing that this is kind of what it was going to look like for the Worlds in a couple months.
Yeah. Little young Ty, now he has facial hair.
Yep, and a mullet.
And a mullet.
Well, sort of. I don't know if you call it he has a mullet, but
Yeah.
so this is the Roar Nats
Thornhill.
in Thornhill. Did you ever race here?
I've never been there, but to me it looks so slick.
Right. Well, look how shiny it is.
Yeah. No, I've never been there. Adam always tells me it's like racing indoor electric, kind of.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
How so?
Just the way the layouts are, and then
Gotcha.
like the grip and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So this was Spencer. Spencer took
old
the win at
school,
this
and, like,
one.
yeah, I remember watching all,
Yeah.
all of it and everything.
I was so mad because my
Mayfield had
camera
an
got
issue.
soaked.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
This is the one that where Mayfield had an issue and he didn't make it.
Mayfield crashed more in the final than he did the entire week at that race. He, I think he finished second, but he crashed so many times. He basically just threw it away with his crashes.
I gotcha.
And then this was 2 weeks before the Worlds. This is the Southern Nationals. Amazing event for all those 50 odd people watching. You need to check this race out. It's awesome.
50 odd.
Yeah. Oh, we're up to 62 now. Sweet. It's a new record. Thanks, Rhonda.
No problem.
And this is another one like
Second drink.
exactly. This is a good one for Ty too, because it actually got really bumpy. And Gord said this is a really, really good practice for the Worlds, because we all knew that Vegas was going to bomb right out.
Yeah.
So again, I was really excited for the Worlds. It makes my job easier when a Proline guy does well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just a bit. This shot I actually took a couple weeks after the Worlds, because I did a big family vacation. We drove down for the Worlds, and then afterwards we spent a week and a half in Phoenix, and this shot was on the way back home. So I cheated.
Got your drone out.
I did, yeah. And this is like my favorite intro ever. It's got like the whole 70s casino vibe to it.
Yeah.
Can just get jiggy to this.
And my thought, I know it's 70s but it's kind of more like wow chicka wow wow.
Right? Bound Chicky Wow
Cool
Wow.
body.
Yeah, he had that one done special just for the Worlds, obviously. He had like the slot machine vibe going with it.
Yeah.
Not like Adam's boring usual paint job.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that though. I mean, like it brings a little pizzazz to RC, because I mean,
Absolutely.
what we do is actually kind of boring. But I guess to the person that doesn't know about it, it looks exciting and everything.
Well, live it's boring. I think when you watch something like, oh, and these people were so lit.
Yeah, they were. It was awesome.
I know, right?
Everybody needs to be like that in RC.
Exactly.
That was pretty funny when you go down the line. They were all
Mhm.
excited.
They were so lit. I loved it. Produced by Todd Matson and the Drac. Yeah, it's my favorite intro. I spent so much time. I probably spent a week on that intro, and the whole edit only took me 5 weeks.
The auspicious day is finally here. The 2016
There should be bloopers, like a whole video of bloopers.
I don't have a lot. Like I haven't witnessed any fights. I miss all the good stuff. Like
And
I
not everybody
literally,
gets your humor. Like I can pick up on the videos, but a lot of
Right.
people can't.
right? I've got a lot of fail footage, but bloopers not a ton. They really went all out for this Worlds, didn't they? Like the trophy, the facility.
It was truly, truly very, very nice.
Yeah.
the banquet, everything. And it was nice that it was all in the same place and everything. I mean, the track, even just on a, just a track level, I mean, that place was in an awesome location. But, RC tracks don't make a whole lot of money. So
It's true. It's true. And their store was really small.
yeah. I mean, but just the racing alone, unless you're holding big events, but then you don't have a location. You're just holding big arena type races.
It's true. Yeah.
Or King in 2010. Or Battier in 2000.
Man, I
Awesome.
wish he was back.
There's so many factors that go into
Cody?
a standalone event.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's gaming a lot now and everything, but I mean, if you truly love something, you do it and you don't care what anybody thinks. So,
Yeah.
Another one of
Yeah,
these
it's true.
factors is watering. For the
look, there's a water hose.
I know, right? Well, they're gonna water. They're gonna water it this one. So
You're
that
a
was
little
actually
dramatic, you know that?
that was a I know, right? That was actually a point of contention, the watering, because we'll get into it in a little bit, but there's some conspiracy theories around the watering. But RC guys, you can't
Yeah.
make them happy. They didn't like the concrete Silver State. They didn't like the watered worlds. They're impossible to keep happy. That's basically what it comes
Well,
down to.
You're never going to make people 100% happy, but you need
Right.
to be consistent with whatever you do.
Yeah, exactly.
And lay down what you're going to do at the beginning, so then they know what to expect. Because if you change it, then that's where people really start complaining and everything.
Yeah, exactly. There's another guy I wish was back, was Dylan.
Yeah,
issue was surrounding the height of the
Yeah.
sidebands of the wings.
I think
So-
we need to bring back some of the old school racing that we used to do. Would really, I think, get people back in the hobby. I mean,
Totally,
because
yeah.
we're really not getting a whole lot of new people right now.
It's true. It's the same here.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same people year after year, with the odd new face, but few and far between.
Only the Kyosho were
Yeah.
in compliance with the rules.
So here we're talking about Wingate. There's always something at IFMAR. In Italy, it was the fuel. Drivers had to use a specific brand of fuel, but there's always something. At this one, it was the wing, the side dam size of the wings. So the guys had to get creative.
Well, that's another thing too. Like I said, these people that make the rules don't even race, so it's
Right.
like,
It's changing so much that
okay, I mean, but we've all been using this stuff, and then they're like, nope, can't use it. You can't
That's
do
right.
this. You can't do that. And
That's right.
it's like,
really makes
you guys are out of touch.
It's true.
Road surface now.
But here the guys are talking about the surface. Boots was really happy because it was, in his opinion, a real surface.
The track's evolving and getting some character.
Spencer probably wouldn't like it as much because he pretty much dominated qualifying at Silver State, and he was sort of mediocre at this race, but he was still kind of newish into his nitro career.
Was this before the character became such a huge word?
This was when it started.
Okay.
Yeah. It was, I didn't do my shtick about character. That was, Joe Bornhorst started that at the first indoor Silver State.
We saw at the 2015
See, that's a real track right there.
Right?
I love stuff
Well,
like
this is
that.
nothing. This is nothing. Just wait.
No, I know, but people complain about that, and then that
Right?
shows you who can drive and who can't.
Exactly.
We'll see. Hopefully the track's similar to that. I don't think it'll get that bad. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, here they're saying it's not going to get that bad. Drew was like, well, maybe it might. We'll see.
Yesterday, when we drove around the track, and I mean, you couldn't really feel the bumps. There was like one or two spots out there that where you can feel like the bump catch your car, but now it was like almost every corner out there.
Everyone's saying that the track's holding
Who's
up
that
really
guy?
good, which I agree it is.
I don't
But
know. It doesn't
we're
look like
still
same person I live with now.
Just getting started. I mean, we're not even finished with practice yet, so I think it's going to get pretty rough.
With one round of practice
Yeah,
still
he's right.
remaining,
Like, here's one round of practice. This isn't even qualifying yet, and look at it.
This facility.
A lot of people kind of don't remember that.
But Jared's the one guy that I thought would really benefit from how bumpy it was, because he's a really good rough track racer.
Yeah.
The same is true with Mayfield.
Yeah.
So there's a question here. Hey, Rhonda, any idea when and if Mugen is going to release a new whip?
Not anytime soon that I know of. And especially with the world's being pushed back right now. So I haven't seen any new stuff. So
Yeah.
I think everybody's on standby with everything that's going on with the world right now.
I know, right? Myself included.
Yeah.
So Andrew White's got some struggles with rough track conditions with his Mugen buggy. Any suggestions? I would say maybe check out Mayfield's DNC setups.
Email me with the type of surface that you run on, and we'll give you a setup. And either message me, email me, and I'll give you. I'll ask some more questions, and I'll give you a setup on what you need.
Yeah. So that's, I think, my first shot of Davide Ongaro. I can't remember following him at all before this. He actually put down, I think, a top 5 in seeding, which really surprised me because I think he was 12 or 13 years old at this point.
Yeah.
And the top seed was David Ronefalk with his mullet. Look at those locks.
I wish that we'd kind of go back to the old school tracks that we used to race on, because I think we've gone more Euro. And I like the traditional American Supercross, but you tell somebody nowadays to build like an actual true off-road, and they get it wrong every time. So like what Joey used to build back in the day, but he used to actually get off the tractor and kind of shape stuff and all that. And I miss those kinds of tracks because the Europeans would come over and they didn't know how to handle that type of track.
It's true.
But everything to me now is very flat and high speed, but I mean, I might as well go run on road, you know?
Right. Right.
But even for me, this World's track here in Vegas was a little more flat than I like.
Right, but he did that
timing.
because he was concerned about it bombing out. He didn't want to do a lot of really big jumps because he knew the faces would get destroyed. That was his logic.
People say that, and a true good driver will be able to run whatever. You know what I mean? Whether it's that happens to the track or whatnot. So I mean, these are freeways nowadays.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the alcohol talking, but I mean,
I know, right?
I'm a little more reserved usually.
So this is my favorite title that I ever came up with, Watergate. I actually had the audio clip of Richard Nixon saying, "I'm not a crook."
Yeah.
But what was happening was, so the top 30 drivers are randomly sorted into the first 3 heats, which I didn't really like, because what's the point of seeding if you don't have the fastest guys in the same heat? So they are spread over 3 heats, and the watering schedule was not in anybody's favor except for Jared's. At least that's the conspiracy.
It never is.
Right? Because Mayfield, he was fired up, man. He was fired up because he was in Heat 1, and it looks dry, but the track was super slick. It had no grip compared to Heats 2, and Heat 3, which is where Jared was, had the best grip.
You know, I know people, when Mayfield is, speaking his mind, a lot of people can't handle the truth and everything, but at least you're getting true, like, the truth out of him,
Yeah, it's true.
He doesn't sugarcoat it for you either, but I'd be upset too.
Yeah, because he went as fast as he could, and I think he was 7th. Mm-hmm. And then Ty, I think,
that's
was
where
5th.
I say that everything should be ran dry. The track should be consistent for everybody. And when they start this watering and all that kind of, I'm just like, and it's the people that aren't racing making the decisions doing that.
Yep. Yeah, they claimed it was because of the airport, but I'm not sure. I think that was kind of a fish story, but who knows? Mm-hmm. It may have been accurate.
He said Watergate.
Yep, exactly. There was all sorts of conspiracy theories going around. It was actually pretty entertaining to listen to them and to capture everybody's thoughts and get these awesome 4 p.m. golden hour watering shots. But yeah, there was literally puddles on the track. So wet.
Who the hell waters like that? You
I know, right?
You don't sit there and soak it.
Yep. Yeah, so day one of qualifying was basically a write-off for a lot of contenders. Like Mayfield, those were his 2 drops. Tessman, those were his 2 drops. Rona Falk, those were his 2 drops. And I think some of the benefactors were Cavalieri and Tebow because they were in Heat 3. I think Rivkin did okay. He was in Heat 2. But yeah, Ty was the highest qualifying driver from Heat 1, and he was in P5.
Adam's doing his videos right now. I can hear him.
Oh, nice. It's all right. I can't hear him. And he's not live right now, so I don't care.
No.
Is Adam going to AMS this weekend?
No, he's not.
And that was one of the questions on the chat.
Oh, yeah. No,
how much
he
are
won't be
your
there. I keep
Rona
dropping
Drake
them.
Edition engines, and where can people get them?
Engine only is $499. That's with no break-in, and then with engine pipe is $630, no break-in, and then $50 for the engine break-in. I do have a couple, not very many.
Yeah.
I have them on our website, or you can message us, but I don't have very many left, and they have to last me kind of until the end of January. So.
Yeah.
I did reserve a couple, so message me or go on the website. One of the
Absolutely.
Normal tracks do, I guess. You know,
Let's see. What's True
all
talking
your
about?
notes from every other race you've been to kind of don't necessarily seem to be true here with this dirt. And,
Yeah, so the Vegas dirt was different, wasn't it? It was really hard to get set up for.
Yeah, it's not a surface. I mean, even Rev was probably the closest Revelation Raceway,
Yeah.
but it still was different. It's a lot looser than what Rev can be, because Rev on
Yeah.
with no water that day is can actually groove up pretty good.
Yeah. So one of the interesting tidbits, so Tim Clark came, I think this was on day 2 of qualifying, so rounds 3 and 4. The night shift actually did a batch of M4, because Proline didn't think that M4 would be as needed as it was, so they actually just ran a batch, and Tim Clark ran them out the next day. So I guess that's one of the benefits of having production in the U.S. and only 3 hours from the track where the Worlds are being held.
I wonder if that will continue with the new
Ooh, even though we're medicated, we're not going to go there. But
Okay.
I don't think it will. That's just me. I can say that I'm not sponsored by anyone, so. But even though there was some issues with the watering, this surface was awesome. I really thought that Chris did a pretty good job. I don't know how it went down with IFMAR, because they typically don't allow watering. So he kind of started a trend, because they allowed watering at this track. They allowed watering at the Worlds after this in Australia. So I'm not sure how that conversation went with IFMAR, but I'm really happy that it kind of opened the doors to watering.
I truly think the racers should, be the deciding factor. I know you have to have the organization, but the racers are the ones doing the racing, you know, and you have people that haven't raced in years that are making decisions, and they open their eyes because they kind of got called out on a few things,
Correct.
so they were bending the rules a little bit, but you also need to be consistent, in everything that you do. But I mean, it's like baby steps, and these are a lot of rules that have needed to be changed for a very long time. But like you said, I guess changes, any little bit of change is actually good.
It's true.
So.
But I do believe, I don't know if they would have been able to run this track dry, to be honest, because it really fell apart in the main. And that was probably the longest it went without water, the whole event. So I think it really would have fallen apart to a level even more so than what we saw here. So here, Jared's actually having a pretty good Worlds at this point. I think he was in the top 3 pretty much the whole time in qualifying. I think he had a couple. Obviously, his first day was really, really solid. I can't remember who was TQ after day one. I have the volume a little too low on the movie to remember, but yeah, he was definitely. I could tell from his demeanor in the interviews he was having a good time. So, have you heard anything about the Brazil Worlds at all?
I heard they're still going to be there, but
yeah.
Like I said, everything's on hold with the election and
yeah.
COVID and everything. So kind of everything's on standby.
Oh, Chris Toko's actually watching. He just messaged. He said it would have chipped and been super dusty. He said he tried multiple different options, and watching was the best, and watering was the best option. And I think he's right. Like, he's got to know his dirt.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But with 2021, it could be the same as 2020. Who knows?
It's true. It's true. Like, even for me, I don't know when my filming starts, because I'm not super keen on quarantining when I come back. So yeah, I could fly to a race, so I'm gone for a week, and then I have to quarantine for 14 days. Can't see my best friend, etc. You know, that would kind of suck. So I don't know what's happening even with my filming next year. Yeah, here Boots got the TQ, and I think Tebow is in P2. Oh, here we go. Here's a results sheet. Boots, Cavalieri, Tebow. Somebody's asked me what buggy I'm running. I'm still running X-Ray. Andrew White, how hard is it to drive on the big tracks versus smaller tracks? That's a question for Rhonda. Oh, here comes the Star Wars Easter egg. Just watch in the background. Anyways, question. How hard
little
is it?
tracks versus big tracks. I think if you're going to run a little track, you might as well run electric. I prefer bigger tracks. You have to set up your car totally different for a smaller track versus a bigger track.
Yeah.
And the way our cars are designed are for bigger tracks and the engines and, you know, how fast they go and everything else like that. Bigger tracks are more what I prefer. So little tracks, you're just looking for fast lap because everybody can kind of do the same thing. Like I said, you might as well run to the scale if you're going to be on a smaller track.
Yeah, exactly. So this chapter's titled "Expect the Unexpected" because it's usually the dark horse that wins these events. Because the year Cody won it, that was kind of Jared's year. He won pretty much everything there was to win that year. And then the year before it was Truhi's year, and he lost to Hara. Mm-hmm. So it always seems to be like the dark horse. And I was sort of following Dylan Rodriguez a lot this season, kind of hoping that maybe he'd step up, and who knows? You never know. Some nobody like him could have pulled it off and won the thing. And here we're focusing a little bit on Dylan. I think he's actually watching because there's somebody named Santos Rodriguez that said the whole wing rule was whack, and that sort of sounds like it might be. I'm not sure if it's Dylan or if it's just somebody else. I have no idea. But
so Corey, you picked a local favorite.
I did pick a local favorite. Yeah, I figured. It might be. You never know. You never know. He might be the Cody King of 2016. He wasn't, but.
There was Angaro and Ronafalk.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Ronafalk was not a dark horse. He was really fast. You know, he won DNC I think prior to that, so he was no slouch.
Yeah.
He was, however, quietly working his way well into a semi-final position.
It's just the way I am. Sometimes I'm really good at qualifying, and sometimes I'm not that good at it.
So one of the questions is if Adam will do a hands-on tuning video for engines.
Don't put pressure on myself.
I can let him know. He's in there doing videos right now. I can tell him.
Don't leave. Oh, Santos Rodriguez is from Thornhill. My bad.
Oh, okay. I mean, just message him and he usually does request, you know, whatever people request is what he kind of does videos on.
Cool. So here we can see the track is just getting worse and worse and worse. Here I focus a little bit on Cody, who is really struggling at these worlds.
Well, I think what once you win a Worlds too, you have that added pressure.
Yep.
And you try even harder. And I think sometimes when it's just your time, it's your time.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, nobody's really won it 2 times, right? I don't think
One
so.
driver from France has. I cannot remember his name.
But it was way
back.
in the
It was
day,
like in
right?
the 90s sometime.
Yeah.
Oh, there's your husband in P2 behind Cody. This is actually a really good interview.
Did our pit, and the gas tank lid got stuck on the body.
Yeah, he just had bad luck. His his tank lid got stuck on the body.
Sometimes you got to take your good luck at one race.
Yep.
And you're having your bad luck at the other one. So, but I think, when it's your, home country and you're like, I got this year. And then reality kind of slaps you in the face. And,
Yeah.
The stars got to align for you sometimes.
Adam seems to be having problems with his buggy.
So Adam actually, he was really struggling. He had his race car and his practice car, and he felt disconnected from his race car somehow. And so he actually ended up keeping the chassis from his race car because it was marked, and he put everything else from his practice car on that chassis. And then he sort of turned it around, but yeah. Have you ever had 2 cars that were identical setup and they just didn't work the same?
Of course.
Like I said, still not perfect, but a lot to build on.
Some cars just have demons in them.
Right. Not X-Ray. They're awesome. I'm not sponsored by them, but I still have to get my shameless plug in there. Contrary to popular belief, I pay for most of my RC stuff.
Adam has done exactly that.
So this is a good question from Muggy Maniac. Is it true that Adam is one of the main reasons Mayfield always does well in Truggy because Adam does Mayfield's Truggy setups?
I don't think, no, because it's a collaboration of both of them. No, because sometimes Mayfield, most of the time Mayfield has his own setups, versus Adam and everything, and then they run different tires, so the setups aren't going to be the same.
Right.
Do they work well together, Adam and Ryan? Of course.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think they have the same setups. At times, they'll try each other's setups and go from there on it. But no, for some reason, Adam and Ryan have some kind of bromance. But
Bromance, I love
but
it.
no, I don't think that they're 2 different drivers. So you're gonna
Hold
have
up your drink
setup
so that you have an excuse. Nice.
I think I'm running up in the top, 6 or 7 or whatever. So I got some decent runs. Like nothing really matters till Saturday. So
Yeah, so he's got. Ryan was just saying he's kind of in the semis, and he's totally content because nothing really matters about the semis, or sorry, about qualifying until if you're in the semis, it doesn't really matter.
Elliott Boots being atop the leaderboard is
So here's after 2 or 3 rounds, it was Elliott, Tebow, Cavalieri, top 3.
He was looking to make a statement. He would fall short of his own expectations in round 5.
So is Robin? Sorry, is Adam Batman, and Mayfield Robin, or is it vice versa?
Most of us knows on the gas pretty hard.
It's a question coming in on the chat.
Never thought of it. It's whatever you want it to be.
There you go.
Just got to take it quite easy out there now. I'll let the hard way.
Frustrated with the track.
Yeah, look at the tires that Ronafalk's trying. City blocks, if I recall. Well, city beams. Brilliant. Oh man, those are crime fighters.
They want their tires back.
Did you try crime? Oh, you weren't at this race, but when was the last time you ran crime fighters?
Yeah, some of the
Probably about 4 years ago.
Oh, really? That recently?
I love those tires.
Right?
Yeah, I love those tires.
a little punch and he likes to catch some holes. So
Yeah, there's some old
That
school
was the
stuff
main
coming up.
tire back in the day.
It was, yeah. Yeah, on the Panther side it was the K2s, and on the Proline side it was the crime fighters. Crazy. Oh, and this Muggy Maniac guy says, if those 2 are Batman and Robin, you're Catwoman.
Oh God.
Right? There's an image. There's an idea for your next Halloween costume.
Would Ty get drug off his tire program? Would Elliott?
So with what we're talking about here is Boots is having a pretty good run on pretty normal tires, and a lot of guys were actually pulling out the old school stuff. And I was curious if Boots or even Tessman or somebody would try something weird. But I think Boots, he stuck with his whole shot program pretty much the whole time in qualifying.
Usually when we'd go there, that was the main tire we would run.
Yeah. That brick section was seriously cool.
Yeah.
It got pretty dusty and slippery, but it added an interesting element. Can you still get Crime Fighters? Do you know?
I don't think so. I have a lot, but
Nice.
I don't think you can anymore.
That was one of the questions on the chat.
Yeah, I have a bunch of them still.
Motocross background help him in the rough, or is it simply a matter of Elliott's full punch driving style finally catching?
So here, I think it was Elliott and Tebow were sort of, I think both of them had a really good shot at overall TQ. And Tebow's just trying to explain his rough track driving. So, like, do you have a different technique for rough tracks, or do you just kind of go full punch everywhere all the time?
Ty has an impressive run in the third round.
I just more punch through like the Mugen car, you try to drive it easy and it'll like it everywhere. But the more you're in the throttle with the Mugen car, the more it's like down in the track. So I punch it more when it's a rough track.
Yeah. Ooh, there was a nice takeout. Ooh, and another one. Who is that? Who is Tessman battling with there? Can't quite tell. Some squid, clearly. So is it depressing how young these guys all look?
I mean, we all go through the process of life, but
Right?
I mean, it's hard for me to even say I've been in the industry 30 years, but I guess it's just the evolution of everything. But yeah, I guess it's a little weird to look back and think that. But there aren't a lot of young drivers, not like the generation of like the Mayfields,
Right?
and Adams and all that. That was like a huge group of people that came up at once.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, like Ty and Rivkin now, but there's not a lot of
Ty's
them.
not that young. He's 27 in a couple weeks.
No, I know, but there's not a whole lot of people that
Right.
squeaked in with full factory rides.
Yeah, it's true.
Like that.
I think we've been kind of spoiled because I always said if there's a RC Hall of Fame, like guys like Cavalieri, Mayfield, Tebow, they're kind of like first ballot entries into a Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And Adam as well, because he's kind of been a pioneer for
Well, it's
105
funny,
years
meeting
now.
a girl, you look at like the supermodels back in the early 90s, like Cindy Crawford and all them, that era, you can't touch that era of,
Right, it's true.
of like supermodels. So it's kind of like that in RC as well. And don't get me wrong, you have supermodels now, but that era was by far the staple, you know.
So here's a good question. So Ty and Gord have a tight relationship with you and Adam. How is that, and what's the connection?
A lot of people don't really know them, but they are some of the realest people. They are very wholesome and nice and real people. I don't think that they let a lot of people in, and I think it's crappy that people judge them on their religion and all that. They don't push it on anybody.
Yeah.
But they are great friends of ours. They've had our back when people have not been so nice to us, and vice versa. And there's some people in your life that come in your life that that they have your back. So
yeah.
It was just one of those relationships that kind of, we come from two different worlds, but it just worked.
Yeah.
So.
Plus, Adam, I think, was one of the first pros that Ty met and talked to when he was like 9 or 10 years old.
Yeah.
is holding up.
But no, they truly are good people.
Over the cage.
Yep.
Very competitive, you know. But who isn't? You
Right.
know, and
This.
they just love racing. So.
Yep. So now this is
You know, it's kind of like. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Down to the point where
Oh, check
I was
that
just
out.
gonna say, like, a lot of people like don't, you know, Mayfield, they're like, oh, he's not so nice and this and that, but he's one of the realest people you could meet as well. So
Right. So this section is aptly named. It's the final day of qualifying, so rounds 5 and 6, and the track is literally getting bombed out. Like you saw that guy sitting in that hole after what used to be a triple was now like a double. No, it was a double, and then that hole created a triple out of it or something. He was pretty much like saying you could take a bath in it. It was so deep. So this was real off-road. There is no question this was an off-road race.
There's nothing, no carpet, like it's true off-road.
give me a second. I gotta turn the air on. It's hot in this room.
Yeah, no worries.
The guy that doesn't make any mistakes and get the car.
Rhonda will be right back.
staying on top of setup will absolutely be key.
So yeah, this was one of my favorite Come Drive With Us episodes. I don't know how the edit went so quickly, but it was like 5 weeks start to finish. I'm getting hassled all the time about Icebreaker. It's coming. Leave me alone. So Ty needed a really good run. I think he was in like the P5, 6. Like he was in the semis, and that's kind of all he really wanted. But yeah, he was struggling a little bit to put a really good run in. And there's a lot of guys struggling. Like Dakota really had a hard time. And I just don't think the Losi car at this point was a really good bumpy track car, because Mayfield basically, he was one of the favorites going into the race, but he was not a contender. Like I stand by that. He was not a contender at any point in this event.
I think we'll be there, barring a catastrophe. We'll be there.
While Ty did struggle at times at the Messina Worlds, his struggles there pale.
I love
in
that shot.
comparison to what he is going through at these
That was their TQ shot from Messina. So this is the last round of qualifying. Last day of qualifying. I believe this is round 5. I'm not sure who was in the hunt, but I believe it was between Tebow and Boots for the top spot. So I asked Daniel this question. I asked a lot of people this question that come on these feeds. Do you believe that IFMAR or Roar National should be a spec tire race?
No.
I don't like that answer
And
because it's wrong.
I know everybody wants it equally across the board, the same for everybody and all that.
Yeah.
But there's a reason why they make all these different tires.
Yeah.
And not everybody's gonna go the same on
Right.
each tire and everything else like that. And then, there's people, oh, they're cheating, or they doing this or whatever.
Yeah.
It's RC cars. I mean, if you want to make it a spec tire, then have a separate class for that. But
Yeah.
then let's let them go at it with whatever products that they want to run. Because if we only did spec tire, then people would want to only do, oh no, let's do it the other way.
Right.
So it's just, it's a never ending battle.
This was actually pretty impressive here. Tebow did the 10-minute qualifier on no stops, and he ended up getting the TQ. And I think this gave him overall TQ, but I can't quite remember.
Because if you're gonna do spec tire, then you might as well do mandatory stops too. You know
This
what
is
I
true.
mean? Like
This
it's
is
so
true.
many minutes.
Get our biscuit technique
So-
and went for the full 10 and was able to take the TQ from David.
Some
So,
people have a
yeah,
trigger
good.
finger, they can drive longer on a tank, and some people can't. So you're never, I mean,
Yeah.
they're different manufacturers, different cars, they're different everything. So
Yeah.
just let people race.
There's a question on the.
That's just my opinion.
It's fair. There's a question on the feed about, or in the chat about the Worlds. Yes, at this point, the Worlds for 21 are being held in Brazil, I believe, in September, August-September timeframe. At this point, but who knows with this pandemic? Who knows? So yeah, here's Dakota. He didn't have a good race at all. And again, I truly think that it was just his car, like the Losi car just wasn't very good in the rough.
He might be good with a mullet too.
He might. Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Round 6 would be even worse for him. The track conditions are continuing.
Yeah, his car was all over the place. It's like super bad. But his usual car builder was no longer with Losi. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And she's pineappling. Oh, this is pretty cool. Coming up, I think Ty actually landed on somebody and flamed out. Can't remember if that happened here. I think it was Lutz. Yeah, here we go.
You really should have had a flywheel cover on there, you know.
Right? Yeah, watch this. Watch this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Bam! Right there, flamed out.
Bam!
Yeah.
Oh man, how perfect was that?
Right? Was the Techno used to have like 18-inch tall shock towers, so it was just a accident waiting to happen.
Does.
It's a lot better now. It's not as big, but yeah, Ty needed a good run. I mean, he was still in the semi, so it didn't really matter. I still don't know how Boots drives with a stick radio.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried a stick radio?
No, but I'm going in about 2 weeks to drive some Traxxas trucks from my phone, and it's like 5G, so it's going to be different driving, you know, with your fingers on a phone.
Right.
And they said that you can the technology's so good now that you can drive a car from in another state.
Really?
So in
Wow.
2 weeks, I'll have a lot more information on that. They were doing it for 4G and it didn't work as well, but I guess 5G now, and I'm going to spend 3 or 4 days doing that.
Nice.
So, yeah, so we'll see. But no, I'm not coordinated with a stick radio, so I doubt I'll even be coordinated with my phone.
Yeah, so here's Jared. He was the overall TQ. And I believe it was Boots in P2 and Cavalieri in P3. But who knows? I didn't do my homework before this one.
And it's been 4 or 5 years, so.
Yeah. Yeah, they're talking about Ty getting flamed out. Gord was mad, but it was just a racing incident. They had an option jump, and Ty and Lutz went in different. They took different lines through there, and it was just bad luck.
It all sounds good and fine now, but you know they were mad.
Oh, they were mad. They were mad. But again, semifinals, anything can happen.
Yeah.
Adam has like the worst starts. So semis and him, just they don't work so well. Does he work on his starts? Have they gotten any better?
Adam?
Yeah.
I mean, he does well when we're, you know, locally and everything else like that. But I think when you're at a world event with the different drivers you don't normally drive with, I mean, it's a whole different, you know, scene.
Yeah,
as well,
exactly.
you know, and Adam's a very, you know, sportsman-like kind of driver and everything. Versus like Mayfield, where Mayfield has that killer instinct, you know, and killer.
He steals clean though.
Adam,
like I've never seen Mayfield take anybody he wasn't mad at out.
He is, but where Adam is very patient and nice with people. I wish that Adam would have more of that killer instinct type of attitude when he's out there racing.
Yeah, but he's got a reputation to maintain too.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta say screw it and hurt people's feelings. I mean,
right.
I've changed my driving over the years. I was very sportsmanlike, but now I'm really. I'll still be nice, but the minute you kind of get into me a little bit, I'm gonna give it back.
Yeah.
And I kind of research, you know, or not research, but kind of, you know, who you're driving against.
Yeah.
So you know how to be back towards them. So.
That was Warren Vandermarve's wife. It was like the 2048 main, so it was like way, way, way down in the pack, but she was really into it. It was
I
awesome.
know, but the intensity, I
Oh,
watched
yeah.
this the other night.
So Dylan, he always struggled with his wrenching, so he brought good old Victor Guerrero up to Vegas just to be his pit guy. And I can't remember which main. I think Dylan was playing quite the bump game. He was like in the quarters, if I recall. So, but the one year he
weird,
went from the
though.
F main at DNC to the A, so he's used to playing the bump game.
Yeah.
Kind of sucks when some of these longtime RC guys quit and go do dirt bikes, huh?
I think that people have, and I don't know Victor why he quit. I kind of know he kind of got wifed up and kind of found other things to
Vaginitis.
do and everything. But I think that a lot of people that get into RC have these expectations to either be world champion, team manager, or whatever, instead of just doing this because you have fun doing it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people get out when their expectations don't meet what they thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
So,
Just discussing about what to do with tires and
but I think he got wifed up or whatever the term you use.
Vaginitis.
I'm not going to.
Say it, vaginitis.
Well, that's something I'm never going to get. But,
It's a true story. Oh man.
but vaginitis.
There you go. Yep. Terrible. And she takes another swig of her drink.
Because, oh, never mind. I won't even go there.
Oh, dang
Never
it.
mind.
It's the wrong time to pineapple on me. So now we're getting closer to the auspicious semifinals. So stressful. I hate, as a driver, I would absolutely hate semifinals because you could basically spend 8 days at an event, work yourself into a top 5, top 4 position, and if you DNF the semifinal, your whole event is over.
Yeah.
It's just so stressful. As a cinematographer and a storyteller, I absolutely love the semifinals, but as a racer, I would hate them.
Yeah. I think when you go into it and you expect so much, it doesn't
Yeah.
ever work out for you. But when you go into it and you're just kind of like, you put in the work, but you're kind of like, whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
Usually works out for you.
It's true. Be curious to see if Joey does a DNC this year.
I think he's trying. I know he's not going to do Silver State, obviously.
Yeah.
And but I do think he's trying for a DNC. But I don't know that it'll be back at the same venue. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, he should do a Silver State because that's after DNC.
Well, no, for sure. I think
Yeah.
he might already have a date for that. But I think he's working on the DNC because honestly, it's only 4 months away, and it comes
true.
really quick. So.
Yep.
But I don't think it'll be at the same venue.
Oh, really?
That it was last year.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Just reading the chat here.
Probably comments from your comment.
Yeah, maybe, huh? No, nothing on the vaginitis yet.
Mm.
I'm sure I'll get some grief about it later, but So
oh
here-
my god, I can't believe you talked to Ron.
I know, right? Oh, there goes Adam. He just went flying off the track. Did you see that?
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. The poor guy. Just such a bad start.
For the front runners, but not everyone got a good start.
Yeah, here he is way at the back.
Crashed right out of the gate. Was loud.
Now, here's a good slow-mo of it.
But actually it was super calm. Just I knew I had one less stop than everyone. Just wanted to kind of stay with the pack. I was able to for a little bit. Got together with someone on the straightaway, crashed in the middle of the straightaway. And it was just kind of no man's land. Then tried to push a little bit and just made some costly mistakes and came up short. So see you in Australia in 2 years.
Adam Drake's worlds are over.
Yeah, so I felt pretty bad for Adam because he worked so hard leading up to this one.
No, he does. But you know what? But sometimes I know that that is a personal goal of his that he wants or still wants to win a world.
Yeah.
But sometimes that's not what you were meant to do sometimes. So
Yeah.
whatever it is, I mean, he's still pretty big in the industry and stuff like that. So sometimes your picture isn't what actually happens, but sometimes it might be bigger or greater than that. You never know. So
Yeah, exactly. So here we are following Dakota, I believe.
World thus far is on point and looks to be poised to dominate this semifinal.
So Dakota was actually TQ, or he was in P1 at this point in the odd semifinal, which was really surprising because he did nothing leading up to it. It really goes to show that the qualifying at Worlds doesn't really matter. Just get yourself in the semis and punch,
Yeah.
go full punch after that.
Would this be without a bit of drama?
And then he flames out. Typical Dakota. I think you and I were marshalling the buggy A at Silver State, and Dakota was gone, and you're like shaking your head, saying, "Nope, it's not gonna happen. He's gonna
oh
break
yeah, I
something."
remember that.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember.
So, just in the
He's
next
extremely talented.
Oh,
and
he's hugely
everything.
talented.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be interesting to
But
see if
sometimes
he
it
has to go back
doesn't work
to Proline rubber now that Horizon owns Proline.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I don't know how long his contract is with J Concepts, but yeah,
Yeah.
you never know.
So here's Dylan. He's made it out of the quarters and into the semis,
I hate losing. I always want to do better. So.
but he
Mullet in the
didn't make the
background.
cut. He was close. Like, it's impressive for a guy who races as little as he does to make it into the semifinals at the Worlds. That's huge.
Yeah.
And looks like you have a fan. His name is Bobo Bear. He says, "Hi, Rhonda, huge fan."
Bobo Bear.
Yep.
Hi.
The most naturally talented drivers could very well walk away from the sport forever.
Next, Renault Savoia in 6th and Ogden in 7th. They're racing for laps and time.
So here's Adrian stressing.
Roloff has held on to the lead uncontested after Dakota's flameout.
So once Dakota flamed out, Ronafalk took over P1.
30 minutes and 34 seconds later, David would end the
And
semi
he would end the semi on top, so he would be at this point starting from pole. And here's Ongaro again.
But the big surprise coming out of the semis would be the young Italian, Davide Ongaro.
I really wish I knew how old he was. I think he was only 12 at this race.
Did it by hero lapping.
He was young, for sure.
Yeah.
1 second behind him.
Oh wait, no, he was 17 in Australia, so that makes him 14, 15 here.
Jump forward. If so, this is definitely the perfect time for the young Italian.
I'm almost out of drinks.
What? Yeah, me too. Look,
Yeah, I might have to.
I'm down to a little swig.
The semi was on deck, and with drivers like Boots, Tessman, Cavallari, McBride.
So this was the B group, or sorry, the even group, and it was stacked with a lot of drivers.
Tight
Tessman.
space.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like, hate this. I hate semis. They actually do pretty good in semis. They don't. I don't remember them ever having like a DNF or anything in them. I think one time I averaged out Ty's Worlds performance. I think he's like 6.8 is his average finish since he started doing Worlds. That was a pretty risky line.
It was okay. We were lacking a bit of rear end grip. It wasn't spot on, but hopefully when it gets cooler, it'll be back to the conditions that we were.
Nitro Freak says Rhonda's the fastest woman in RC. Well, guess what, Nitro Freak? She's faster than a lot of boys, including Mark Santa Maria.
Oh, goodness. Oh, my goodness. But I will say Mark's got me beat because he's like a huge YouTuber or whatever. So,
Oh, I know he's got us all
but
beat.
not on the track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here we have, I believe Ty is in P1 at this point, battling with Boots, or is Cavalieri in P1? I can't remember what the order was here. I know there's some drama coming up soon between Cavalieri and Tessman. But Ty went out on Fugitives. I don't know which compound. And that's an important little tidbit because his car looked really good on Fugitives.
Is there like drama on the track or drama in the pits?
On the track.
Maybe better
And
if
off
it's
the
in
track
pits.
because Gord.
Oh, gotcha.
So Ty's car seemed to drop off a little bit. and Cavallari's car got faster. So Cavallari ran him down towards the end of the semi.
Minutes of the race, Cavallari would put on an amazingly hard charge and would pass Tessman for the lead.
Yeah, so he actually passed Tessman for the lead. But he bobbled on that new triple. And I think Ty's car is just a little bit better in the rough, but I think Cavallari had a little bit better tire. And then they start battling a little bit, and then Ty gets
And that's
past
when
him.
Cavallari was running what? J Concepts?
AKA.
AKA.
Yeah. Yeah, so just watch this when they get to the loop. There's a little tire turn.
Oh, that was like a bitch slap right there.
Yeah, well, he turned his tire right into Ty. I actually got called up to the stand, and they asked me if I got footage of
down
it.
The stairs up there?
Yeah.
I would have. I'd be a bitch.
Right.
No, I'm just kidding.
They called me up to the stand, and they asked me if I had any footage of it, and
like,
I
"Of
showed them
course
my
I do."
footage, and they ended up taking they ended up penalizing Cavallari.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you did make it look pretty dramatic too, so.
Well, yeah, it was some of the live RC. They couldn't tell where his tires were pointed, and it was where his tires were pointed because he basically turned right into Ty, and that's what got him the penalty. If he would have just kept his tires pointed towards the pipe, it would have been fine. But because they were pointed towards Ty, that's what got him the penalty. He only lost one position, but he did lose that spot because he would have been. I think he would have been overall. He would have beat Rona Falk, I think. So what we're talking about here is these are the best guys in the world, and nobody was not crashing. Every single driver was having at least 2 or 3 crashes in that 30-minute race.
Just got to be so careful. We've got to tiptoe around, really, basically. So it's not really, it is racing, but it's not, you know what I mean?
Yeah, this guy named RC, creative name, says just send Admiral out for more drinks.
He's sitting there making YouTube videos right now, so I don't think
His
he's
aren't
like
live.
interrupted. I know he's not live, but it'd be like, are you kidding me right now?
Right. So Cavallari wasn't super disappointed. He still his drama wasn't quite over. He had some serious drama right at the start, and we'll get into that shortly. So yeah, Ty ended up getting the pole, and nobody has ever won an IFMAR Worlds from P1
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
I had a really bad semi. No speed, no comfort.
I love Jared's soliloquies.
We'll see.
I think we found our
No speed, no comfort, no mojo.
This car looked really good, I thought. So
Yeah, Gord was pretty stoked. What's interesting though is they ran fugitives, but weren't super happy because they dropped off. So they ended up going with fugitive lights for the main, which is probably a decision that still haunts them.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think anybody knew what tire to run, really. It was Dino.
Oh, Dino Dan, I sure miss that guy. He was fun.
Mhm.
What's he doing now?
Yeah.
I heard he was like working in aerospace or something.
Yeah, doing sometime like something for government or whatever.
Yeah.
So he likes it because it's just a 9 to 5. It's not doing this stuff where it was 24/7.
Yeah. The thing I really liked about this race was all the spectators.
Mhm.
But I think unlike Italy, it was a lot of racers and participants. It wasn't a lot of people off the street, which is kind of unfortunate.
That's always kind of RC though.
Not in Italy. There was people like the
Well-
mayor was there, the mayor's family. There was just random people. They had like 5 or 6 bleachers full of people. And only 1 or 2 of them were participants.
Yeah, but I think when like the Las Vegas, they don't know if they can drive in there or what's
Yeah,
going
it's true.
on. Or...
It's true. Parking wasn't
But
super
like a-
awesome.
No, exactly. And stuff.
Yeah.
It's not like it's at a park or
Yeah.
whatnot.
So now it's time for the hour-long main final. I do kind of think that there was a tire advantage here a little bit with AKA and Hot Race. I don't expect you to comment because you're sponsored by Proline, but I am not. And I definitely felt that both Ronefalk and Battier and the guys on that rubber definitely had a little bit of an edge over the PL and the JC guys. JC was probably like the bottom of the bucket at this race. And Proline was second best, and I think it's hard to say between Hot Race and AKA. They were both really, really strong. And there's all my media buddies. Man, I miss going to races. So Cavalieri actually flamed out on the line, and Lou Dog tried to bring him out back to his spot, and pretty much everybody screamed blue murder, and Cavalieri had to start from pit lane, and he had to let every single competitor by before he could roll out. Needless to say, he yelled just a wee bit at Lou Dog.
No.
Right? Clean start. And there we have Cavalieri right at the back. And Ty got out to a nice clean start. He developed a wee little bit of a gap over Ronefalk. What's interesting is they Ronefalk and Ty are running really different setups, and Ronefalk's car actually looked terrible, but somehow David could just drive around it, and he was just wheeling that thing full punch everywhere. So Devin thinks they need to stop doing 1 hour mains. What are your thoughts on that? Should they, or maybe even try doing like 3 15-minute races? What are your thoughts?
No, I think it should be like an hour-long main is pretty long. I like 45 minutes because when you're up there driving, it doesn't seem like 45 minutes. And then that shows you your mechanic skills and shows you, I think what people as a spectator, you want all action all the time. But when you're up there actually racing, it shows who can do this for a long period of time and how good your mechanicking skills are. So it actually shows, I mean, because some people that run electric, they're 5-minute drivers, you know, so yeah, anybody can put it together for 5 minutes, but you do it for a longer period of time, and that shows you who the best of the best are.
Right.
If you can keep your car together, keep your mindset, everything. And there's only few drivers that can do it, you know, be the same pace as somebody else. Like I've seen Mayfield be a lap down and come all the way back and have an interesting last lap. So, an hour, if you're a spectator, it sucks. But if you're a racer, it's awesome. So, you know, 45 minutes to an hour is good for an event like this. You're doing club racing. Actually, people do like longer mains. Yeah. That's where I get discouraged. Like JBRLs, you have 5-minute qualifiers, and sometimes you get 1, maybe 2. And then you have a 15 or a 10-minute main. You spend 12 hours there. You know, you want longer track time. And so I think if you want shorter mains, race electric. If you want longer mains, you race nitro.
Yeah. So, I think the only people who hate it are maybe the marshals and the spectators.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, get them a chair and a drink.
Well, exactly. and the nice thing is, I think didn't they have a scoreboard at this race? I can't remember if they had a big scoreboard.
Big scoreboard or something.
So, like, the big complaint that a lot of spectators have is they have no clue who's in the lead.
Yeah, and I get that too. You know, but if you're watching it from a video standpoint, you have the live scoring, you have, you know, what's kind of going on.
See, for what I do.
And all that. But honestly, when you're up there driving, an hour, 45 minutes doesn't seem very long.
Right. For what I do, I love hour-long mains because I can get tons of B-roll. I can get lots of footage. It's like electric worlds are brutal because I'm like running around like a crazy person just trying to get everything because it's like a 5-minute race. So for me, hour-long races, I'm like, oh, this is fun. I like this. I can just kind of walk around the track, get my stuff. So here we see. Go ahead.
For like that stuff, it's great. You know what I mean? But I think as a spectator when you're watching it, I mean, like anything, the realistic part of stuff isn't that exciting, but you put
It's
it
true.
together on a video and it makes it you
Yep.
know, very exciting. So
So here we have David is now in the lead. And he just seems to get out of the corners a wee little bit better. So, yep. Yeah, some guy named RC says 1 hour not good for marshalling. He's right. They're the ones who hate it the most.
no, it's terrible. It sucks. I get that.
As the race drags on, it becomes very clear the tread on Ty's tires was disappearing fast.
So there's Ongaro. I think he was all the way up to 5th spot.
His pace was dropping.
Oh, there's Matt.
Hold on to second place. Young
Matt Wallace, one of the engineers from Proline.
Robert Battier in tow. It's becoming clear. Ty is in the fight of his life.
So there's Davide Ongaro and both Robert Batty. I think they were both on Hot Race at this race. And then David was on AKA, and then obviously Tebow and Tessman were on Pro Lines. I don't remember what tire Tebow went with. I think he went on Fugitive Lights as well. But I know Ty did not like the Fugitive Lights at all.
Yeah.
And Rona Falk would go on to win. His margin of victory wasn't super big. It was like 9-10 seconds. And then, one thing I forgot to mention, Battier actually had was it a gallstone at this race? He had, I think it was a gallstone. So he was in the hospital for a couple rounds of practice, and he was in constant pain throughout this whole event. And he ended up finishing second.
I think that like when you put your body under stress,
Yeah.
when you have these underlying little problems, I think that's when they
Right.
appear. Because Adam's usually around DNCs, he usually has kidney stones.
Oh, right.
I mean, it's not funny, but it's true.
Right.
Like your body, the stress.
Yeah.
This is with you guys.
The only other competitor that matched David's elation was Robert Battier, who finished second.
Just amazing. From hospital I have been on Tuesday to here, it's amazing. Like
How's your kidney stone?
Still here. She's my friend now.
Oh, thank goodness.
I know. She's my friend now. I love Robert Batty. He's great.
Happy tomorrow and see my family and
Yeah, it was really sad because the rumors were swirling that RC Tracks was potentially shutting down shortly after this race. Do you remember how long it lasted after the 16 Worlds?
Well, we got a few more.
Not very long, I don't think.
Before the next
Yeah.
Worlds. Got British Championships to win, bigger races, international races. You know, there's always races to go. Always got to keep fighting and keep.
Yeah, it's a stressful job that these guys have. A lot of people think it's toy cars for bowling trophies, and they get paid money to do it. But I think it's pretty high stress. It's not a job I would want.
You know, there's different jobs for different people.
It's true. A lot of people often commented on why Ty was so emotional here, but what they don't really know is they knew at this point that this was probably their last race for Hot Bodies, and they were extremely close to the owner. They had a lot of respect for the former owner of Hot Bodies.
Yeah.
Can't remember his name off the top of my head, but they were extremely close. So they were extremely emotional. I thought it was just because they finished third and were really bummed out. But I talked to Gord just a few weeks ago or a few months ago in Kamloops, BC. They were doing one of their clinics, and he said it was because it was the last race they were going to run for Hot Bodies, and it was a brand that Ty had run from his start. And yeah, they were extremely emotional about. They knew they were not going to be with Hot Bodies.
Well, I mean, goodbyes are not easy sometimes, you
It's
know,
true.
and especially
Yeah.
when you never had any idea of going anywhere else.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But nothing really stays the same.
It's true. Because they had already at this point heard that Hot Bodies was potentially being sold or going into Chapter 11 bankruptcy. So
Yeah.
they were just extremely emotional about probably never running Hot Bodies again.
Yeah, I get that. I
Yeah.
mean, and I think, like I said it before, you know, when you win a Worlds, a Nationals, or whatever, the added pressure for the following year is even worse than it was before. When you don't have any wins or a National or Worlds under your title already, you don't have anything to lose. But
It's
when
true.
you already have something like that, you expect to do it
Yeah.
again and again and again. So
This cycle is about to repeat itself.
So I can't remember why I ended up back at Fear Farm.
Preparing for the 2018 World.
Daniel seriously needed a haircut
Oh,
now.
I know, right? Yeah, I can't remember why I went back to Fear Farm for this final shot, but it was a cool shot. And it's
Yeah.
729 days to the next Worlds, which was Australia. So yeah, that was the IFMAR Worlds. So what did you think of that episode?
I liked it. It was a good video. You always do great videos.
They're okay. I can't wait to do another one.
Typical.
I don't know when that's going to be
Me too.
or who it's going to be for.
Interview drivers and get them out of their element, or you know what I mean? Like just do something different.
Yeah, well, I actually did some of that with Ty, not this summer, but the summer before, because he's got a full scale race truck. It's a pre-runner, and he actually gave me
Big
a ride
Booty
along.
Judy?
That's Big Booty Judy. He gave me a ride along. We were going
Yeah.
180 kilometers an hour, 110 miles an hour down a dirt road, and it felt like I was driving in a Cadillac. It was awesome. One of the things I want to do is start reaching out to some of the drivers, getting some of their COVID activities. Like I know Mayfield's big into ATVs in the desert, right?
Yeah.
And Jared's really into mountain biking and BMX and stuff. So I'm actually hoping to reach out to them to get some of their COVID activities on film. Hopefully they have some GoPro footage. I don't know if they do. I know Jared has a lot of it, but we'll see. We'll see. Because I don't think I'm going to be doing these for Proline anymore. I kind of want to do them as an independent.
Then you can really get spicy with your videos.
Exactly. No approvals. I can ask whatever I want. It'd be great.
You
But
can put your little touches on there.
That's right. That's right. But it'd just be nice to be able, like, Proline has always been awesome at letting me tell the story I want, because Todd's instructions were for the non-Proline guys, if they win, they're in. And I thought that was pretty decent of him, because he could have just said, no Proline, if they're not Proline, don't film them. And that would have been a really crappy story, I think. Like at this race, I thought I did a decent job of throwing in Mayfield. Obviously, Rona Falk won the thing, so he had a lot of footage. So I really commend Todd for allowing me to kind of tell the stories I wanted. But shooting it as an independent would be super fun. I mean, the paycheck's nice, but I think I'm working on some stuff with Netflix, a few other distributors for, a 10-year story is what they're after. So I've got 4 more years to go. So I might shoot it as an independent. I'm not sure what we'll have to see what 21 holds, but
I think that you're really going to have to get, what would the viewer actually want to see? They probably want to see something like Tiger King or something.
this is the thing. I need to get a little bit creative on, because there was 2 fist fights at the Vegas Worlds that I missed. Like actual bona fide fist fights. I think Cody King was in one of them. So yeah, I keep missing the fun stuff, but we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. I think it'd be neat to kind of spotlight some of the manufacturers too, their processes.
Yeah, I've done a couple pilots where they wanted drama and all that, and at the time we didn't have any enough spice for it. You probably could now, because people are a little more, I guess, cutthroat versus 10 years ago when we were more sportsmanlike.
Yeah, it's true.
So you never know.
So just a couple more questions before I let you go. Nitro Freak's asking what your next big race is, Rhonda.
I was going to do the easy money race this weekend, but it looks like rain 80 and 90%, so that's kind of canceled. Probably just the Toys for Tots, and there's, I think, the one at Revelation Raceway, and then the other one at Palm Desert. So I'll probably do those. I don't really know of any other races going on, other than I'm doing those little demo trucks for the Traxxas where I'm driving the phones. And that's in 2 weeks, but yeah, other than that, that's all I really have going on until the end of the year, and then hopefully DNC, Silver State, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm hoping for Silver State. That'd be a lot of fun, but I won't go if I have to quarantine. There's no way.
Yeah, I haven't really changed my life a whole lot since all this quarantine thing, but
yeah. Well, so for
I
us,
don't know with the hotel.
Right, for us, if we cross the border, when we come back, we have to isolate for 14 days.
But how do they know if you even isolate?
The RCMP, our state police, they phone us and they make sure, because it's actually a felony if we don't. So that race that Ty did last week or whenever, he's now in isolation. He can't leave his house.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because it's actually a criminal offense if he does.
He's in the Thai compound.
He's in the compound. I mean, it's a pretty freaking cool compound. But he's stuck there. Well, stuck there. So, yeah. Cool. I'm just checking the chat here to see if there's any other questions for you. Oh, RC is asking, is this Traxxas thing against Mark?
No, it's not. I got a call from Qualcomm Stadium, which is, they used to have the Charger games for the NFL there. And it was the executives from Qualcomm. And usually when you do demos, they don't want to pay you. They want you to spend your money on your own hotel and go drive these trucks for free and all that. And I'm like, oh, I'll pass or whatever. They're like, no, we'll pay you and we'll put you up in a hotel. So I'm like, okay. I'm like, what kind of trucks are they? And they're those really big Traxxas trucks. I don't know which ones those are called.
The X-Max?
Yeah, X-Max.
Yeah.
The X-Max. And like I said, we'll be driving 5G from our phone. So it's a day of training or 2 days of training on this track that they built at Qualcomm, and then a day of filming. So I honestly don't know what I'm getting into. I just made sure it wasn't a conflict of interest with my sponsors now. And I'll take lots of pictures and keep everybody kind of updated of what's going on. But if it is something that we can drive a car from another state or whatever, but I don't know that it'll actually apply with what we do. But just a new venture to see what's going to go on. I really have no idea what I'm getting myself into.
Right. Nice.
So.
Well, that sounds exciting. Anyways, I don't want to keep you for too long. I'm sure you've got stuff to do.
Yep.
So thanks for joining. I really appreciate this.
All right, no problem. It was fun, Corey.
Cool.
So people kind of got to see me a little tipsy.
Right. So if you got any shout outs for if you got any shout outs for your sponsors, go for it.
Mugen, OS, Proline, CowRC, Avid. I don't know. It's a long list, but thank you everybody that's ever helped me in RC. I still enjoy doing it. I love everybody that races and is into the hobby. It's what you make of it. And thank you, Corey, for having me on tonight. I appreciate it. And I'll have to go back and watch and look at all the chat.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. Awesome. Well, thanks again. Have a nice evening. Right. I'll switch windows and take a few other questions for myself, but you have a nice evening, and thanks again, Rhonda.
All right. Bye, Corey. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too.
Bye.
So that was Rhonda Drake. And let me just flip over to Zoom and stop the meeting there so that we don't hear her behind the scenes. So yeah, I'm just going to look through the chat here, see if there's anything else for me. I know there is one comment about the Stormtrooper. Yeah, I always throw a Star Wars Easter egg. I'm a little bit of a Star Wars nerd. You can tell from my shirt. So yeah, I always put a Star Wars Easter egg. They've ranged from spaceships like the Millennium Falcon to Stormtroopers to probe droids to just expressions that were used in the film. So yeah, huge Star Wars nerd. I always try to put at least one or two Easter eggs in each episode. Yeah, so this was, again, super, super fun event. Good friends with the Testament, so I was pretty bummed that this was their last race with HB. It was kind of the ending of an era, and I was bummed that they didn't win, because I did bury a loonie in the track. That's our $1 coin. It's a little tradition I started in Italy. It worked in Italy. It hasn't worked since, so Ty owes me like $6 now. Yeah, but RC Tracks Las Vegas was an amazing facility. Chris Tocco and David really did an amazing job bringing something super special to the industry. I was really sad when it shut down, especially when I was there. I think I was there it was either 17 or 18. I basically filmed the wreckage or the remains of RC Tracks Las Vegas, and it's surprising how much of it was still there. And we had heard that a casino had moved in, and there was no construction, nothing happening. So it was really sad to see that the facility wasn't run at least a couple years afterwards. So Muggy Maniac says Adam is the king of nitro and Rhonda's the queen. I think that's pretty valid. Rhonda's super fast. They're both really nice people. They helped me from day one. They were always totally willing to help me with interviews and stuff. So yeah, they're awesome. I need a Darth Vader cameo. I believe there's one in Sick Cross. He was, or was it Yoda? Oh no, I think I used both Yoda and Darth Vader in, not Sick Cross, in PMB, which is the next video we're gonna do one of these on. So what camera do I use? I use a little bit of GoPro, not a whole lot. This was the last race. I used my FS700, which is a Sony 4K cam. I don't shoot a lot in 4K because it's just too much data. It's too big. So yeah, this is the Sony FS700. Was my only camera at that point other than a GoPro. Now I run the FS700 is my C camera. I have a Sony A7R4 as my B camera, and a Sony FS7 as my A camera, and obviously still a little bit of GoPro stuff. Monkey Maniac says, I am the Yoda of RC Nitro action videos. Thanks. Thank you. I like hearing stuff like that. Thank you. Yes, Nitro Freak, it is super sad to see some of these RC tracks gone. I hear that Flowood just lost their track out in whatever state they're in, Missouri, Louisiana. I think it's Missouri. Whatever. It's sad to see them lose their track. It was super sad to see RC tracks go away. There's a lot of tracks that have just kind of shut down. I did see the new Mandalorian episode. I thought it was freaking cool. Can't wait for Friday. I might take a coffee break when that episode drops because I'm working from home, and I just rotate my chair and I'll watch it right there. So yeah, Flowood, Mississippi. Yeah, my bad. Oh, now there's Nitro Freak is arguing with RC Jers. Anyways, yeah, it sucks that these tracks are closing, but we can only hope that new ones pop up. Bobo Bear, I don't know if they built the water park. That was the plan. The question is, did they build that water park in Las Vegas? I don't know. And the last time I was there was 2018, and RC Tracks was still on site. The driver's stand was still there. The IFMAR square thing that all the drivers walked through was still there. But the pit lane was gone. I believe Joey uses that for the Silver State there. So yeah. Yeah, so I'm just looking at the chat here. Sorry for the lull. Not really sure how to fill dead air. I'm not experienced at these podcast thingies. Hopefully Mike Garrison shows up for one of these. I'd love to have him. He's kind of podcasted out and social media'd out, which I completely understand. So yeah, Nitro Indoor is a dream. I actually prefer outdoor. I'm not a huge fan of indoor nitro. It's RC Jers is saying Nitro Indoor is a dream. It's not my thing. I like the outdoor. I like the fresh air. I don't like being fumigated. Obviously, it has its advantages. Like for Silver State, when I was there in 18 as a participant, was it 18? Whenever I went to Silver State. No, it was 2019. I was there as a participant. It was super fun. It was like super hot outside. It was like 100 degrees outside, and inside it was 70. So it was really nice, but the smoke sucked. The grip is just different on indoor. I don't like it. I'm not the biggest fan, but I get that it's nice to have the consistent conditions. I don't know if Ty's coming out with a new OS. He's usually pretty receptive to answering questions on his Facebook messenger, whatever. So just feel free to reach out to him, but I don't have any idea if they're coming out with a new OS. So I live by Thunder Alley. This is Muggy Maniac. I live by Thunder Alley, Revelation, and the Yard. I've never driven at the Yard. Which one do I like better and why? I love Thunder Alley. Thunder Alley is my mecca. It's my holy grail of RC tracks because of the elevation changes. Because it's kind of built into sort of like a half bowl. And I just love the amount of elevation change. It's awesome. It does wear out chassis really quick. Chassis are definitely a wear item at Thunder Alley, but that track is just incredible. I love it. Bar none, favorite track in the world. Oh, my chat crashed again. Restream is not my friend right now. Let's see. Okay, it's back. So yeah, not really sure what else to talk about. Unless something rolls into the chat in the next couple of minutes, I'll probably sign off on this. I hope you guys liked it. This wraps up the 2016 season of Come Drive With Us. The 2017 season was actually pretty interesting. There's a lot of critical events that happened in 17. We had Mayfield switching to Mugen. We had Ty switching over to X-Ray. What's interesting about this race is at this Worlds event, Ty actually had no driver's contract. He was driving on not even a handshake agreement as far as contingency monies go. So he had absolutely no contract whatsoever with Pierre, who was the new owner of HB. So yeah, it's 2017's got some really interesting stuff in it. For a guy who hasn't raced in a while, which I recommend? Club racing. Don't go to. Oh, sorry. Your question was about Rev or Thunder Alley. Both are pretty easy tracks. They're flowing. Rev's going to be flatter, but probably a little dustier, maybe less grip. I think you're safe with either. Thanks, Nitro Freak. I'm pretty nervous doing these live feeds. I tend to ramble like I am now, but yeah, you're welcome. I've got 6 or 7 more, and then I'm hoping to time the wrap up of the Come Drive With Us live editions with the release of the Icebreaker video. So which would be easier, Thunder Alley or Revelation? I don't know. Again, just go to both. They're awesome. So RC is asking if I plan on doing any other big races. Sort of. I was planning on doing Chili Bowl, but I don't know what the status of the U.S. border is going to be. If I fly to it, when I come back, I have to quarantine for 14 days. I'm not super stoked about not seeing my best friend for 14 days, plus the week I'm gone for the actual shoot. So I don't know if I'm doing U.S. races during COVID. I really don't. We've got a pretty good race coming up here, potentially in Chilliwack, BC, called the Barn Race, maybe. If that one is a go, I'll film there, and then I'm going to do the Quebec Classic, and then I'm planning on doing Brazil, the Worlds. But as far as U.S. races, it depends on what COVID does. Thanks, Nitro and CO2. I'm glad you like the stream. There's a bunch available. I've done basically every episode up to this point as a live broadcast. Some are good. Some broadcasts are kind of sucky because I don't like this side of the camera. It's the wrong side of the lens as far as I'm concerned, but yeah. E-Buggy pays the bills. Okay. Muggy Maniac is an E-Buggy fan. I am not. It's okay to pass the time, but I don't like it. Rev is the flatter track out of Rev or Thunder Alley. I've not driven at the third one. I can't remember what the name of it was. But yeah, Rev is purely flat. Thunder Alley has, 23 or 24 feet of elevation change. Anyways, that's pretty much it. I don't see a whole lot of questions coming through. So the next episode, I'm probably going to do maybe next Thursday. I do have my children that weekend, so I don't know if I'm going to do a stream. If I do, it'll be a little later when they're in bed. But I think PMB's next. That was a pretty awesome race. And yeah, that's kind of all I have to say about this one. I hope you guys liked it. I'm just trying to find my outro. There it is. Yeah, so thanks for watching. And stay safe out there. Happy pandemic. Happy election aftermath. Oh, no politics. Can't talk politics or religion. That's my rule for this. Anyways, take care, guys. I'll see you when I see you.